Good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing well and having a great start to your week and a great end of your fall semester. My name is Bryan. I work on our training support team, and thank you all for attending our lesson and assignment builder webinar today. Towards the end of the webinar, I saved a little time at the end. So if you have any questions, feel free to utilize our Q&A option, and I'll be happy to answer those questions towards the end. First and foremost, I'm going to go through the lesson builder tool, and then we'll go into the assignment builder tool right after. To access both of these tools, you're going to want to go into the assignments tab right here. And for the lesson builder tool, we're going to scroll down and go into the curriculum tool right here. Once here, you'll see a list of your sections, and you can click on, I'm going to click on my fall 2020 section right here for us. And if you are using the current default curriculum, the first thing you'll want to do is actually name your curriculum template here. So I'm going to name mine. And once I click Save Changes, our lessons down below are going to become hyperlinked. Once I click into here, I'm going to click on lesson 1.1 because this is where I'm going to jump into the lesson builder tool now. So the lesson builder is going to open up in a new tab, and this is where you can really begin to customize any given lesson you're assigning to your students. Once you're in here, you're going to notice that we have this dual pane view. On the left-hand side is going to be the question bank, and on the right-hand side is going to be the assignment that you're editing. So we have our default curriculum that is set up for you. For this example, we have 15 questions, but you all as instructors have the ability to truly jump in here and customize what questions your students are seeing. You're able to customize the learn screen pages as well. I'll dive into that in a couple of minutes as well. So if I scroll down through here, I'm going to look at my assignment over here on the right-hand side. And like, again, on the left, there's the question bank. So if I come in here, I can scroll through and see the different questions that my students are going to be seeing. And if I want to see different iterations of the questions, I can click on new values to see different types of the questions that my students are going to see. If I do scroll through here and maybe I'm not assigning this topic to my students, I can simply remove this question over here. And you'll notice that we went from 15 questions down to 14 questions. And also vice versa on the left-hand side of the screen. If you want to add in questions, you can see that there's an add button right here. Once I do that, now we're back up to 15 questions again. You can see that we have an occurrence right here. It's showing you how many times this question is being used on the assignment. So for question from lesson 1.1, serial number 1, this is used one time. The nice thing about our questions is they have a wide variety of iterations. So if I really wanted to emphasize a certain concept or objective, I can add it in 2 times, for example. And now we can see that we're up to 16 questions as well. You also have the ability to remove or add questions in bulk. So if I came in here and I wanted to add in multiple questions at a time, I can just check the box off to the question name and objective. And you'll see that we can add 3 total questions now. Now we jumped up to 19 questions, and vice versa on the right-hand side. If I wanted to remove a couple of questions, I'm going to click remove, and now we'll be back down to 16 questions. So this is a great tool to really start choosing which questions you want your students to see. And the last thing I like to point out is you can pull questions in from different lessons. So we're in lesson 1.1, introduction to whole numbers. But if I wanted to pull in some questions from lesson 1.2, I can also do that as well, addition and subtraction with whole numbers. If I click on that lesson, we're going to be brought into lesson 1.2's question bank. We can see that these questions are coming from 1.2 now. And the same thing that we did before, I can begin adding in these questions by using the add button, and I could remove these questions as well like we were before. I also like to point out here in the top right-hand corner, there's this gear icon. From here, you can jump into this open learn mode. This is where you can really input some additional notes that you might have created, and we can place those into the learn screen pages. Once I click on open learn, another new tab is going to open up. And we'll start seeing our learn screen pages here. So the first page is our objectives page. If I want to click in next, we can see the introduction to whole numbers, the first or the second learn screen page right here. But you'll notice that we can scroll through here and see the learn screen page that our teams have inputted into the default curriculum. And then down below, you'll notice there's a text box in here. This is where you can begin adding in your own notes. Some other things you can add in videos if you've embedded or if you created your own videos. You can copy the link from the video or the source from the video. You can use this source button. You can input that video into here. And definitely, I recommend reaching out to your training support representative if you need help adding in some of those videos. But different instructors, they might put in just different notes or key characteristics to kind of draw your students' attention. It might just say, pay attention to question 1, just to emphasize different points that you really want to stress to your students first. So if I come in here and I do make any changes, you'll want to click on the Save Changes option in the top left-hand portion of the screen. And once this is saved, we can move on to another screen. So I'm going to jump into Learn Screen page number 3. I like some other tools at the top of the page we'll see is this Hide Screen and Replace Screen page. So if I came into here and maybe I was not assigning this topic to my students, I could hide this screen completely. So then the students wouldn't see this when they're going through the Learn Screen pages within this lesson. If we save these changes here, now the screen will not be visible to your students. Then lastly, this Replace Screen page. So if you check this box off, we would hide the information that is provided to you by Hawks, and what would appear on the page would just be your complete notes that you input down at the bottom of the page. So if you come in here and you type out your notes, the top part up here that is there by default from Hawks is going to be hidden, and the information that you place in this text box down below is going to be the new Learn Screen page for your students. There's a lot of great resources in here. Instructors truly have the ability to customize the Learn Screen pages and the lessons themselves. So hopefully you guys can all really tweak this and utilize this to help you and your students out in these upcoming semesters. Lastly, on the lesson builder page, I want to point this out as well. You can also change the mastery percentage right here. So we'll notice that the mastery percentage is at 81%. I could jump, if I click onto it, I could raise it or lower it a little bit. As a reminder, they're all set at that 80%, right around 80% by default. So just something to keep in mind there as well. Next, I'm going to jump into the assignment builder tool now. So this is where instructors can start creating assignments from scratch. These assignments that you're creating from scratch, you can assign them online to your students. You can also export them to a Word document, print them out, and you can create paper and pencil assignments as well. So to access the assignment builder tool, you're going to want to come into assignments and then click on web tests. Once into web tests, you're going to notice if you've already created any web tests, they'll appear on your My Web Test page right here. And if you want to create a new one and jump into that assignment builder tool, you'll simply want to click on Create New in the middle of the page. Once I click on Create New, Assignment Builder is going to open in a new tab, and we can scroll into here. The nice thing about Assignment Builder and Lesson Builder is they're going to be set up very similarly to each other. So on the Lesson Builder, we have that dual pane view, with the left side being the question bank and the right side being our assignment. And that's going to be the same thing on the assignment builder over here. So the first thing I'd want to do on the left-hand side is choose that curriculum that I'm using with my students in my section. So I created that demo fall 2020 curriculum. That's where we access the lesson builder. I'm going to use that same curriculum here as I'm creating my assignment. So if I click on my demo fall 2020 curriculum over here, you're going to see that we have all the chapters available to us within the materials. So a couple different ways you can come about creating an assignment. Like I mentioned, you can create paper and pencil assignments, quizzes, tests, practice problems, practice worksheets. This is you can create any kind of assignment from scratch here. So if I wanted to come in here and maybe I wanted to click on create a chapter 2 quiz, for example, If I click on chapter 2, we're going to notice that we have all of the lessons that are within the chapter 2. If I wanted to create a quiz, maybe on the first 4 lessons here, I'm going to check off the first 4 lessons, and I'm going to say that it's going to be a 10-question quiz. Once I click add, the cursor is going to pull over. It's going to pick questions from the 4 lessons I selected. And this is a really great way to create a quick assignment. And you can definitely come into here and you can just take a double check it and review the questions that were pulled over for you. So if I come into here, I can really focus on these individual questions on the right-hand side. If I click on this right panel full screen, now I can really just get a focus on that right-hand side of the page and on my assignment here. Same thing as before. You can remove questions from here by clicking this little minus button. And we'll notice now we're down to 9 questions again. If you check off these boxes, you can remove multiple questions at a time. And now you can see we're down to 7 questions. I'm going to show both panels again, just because I want to show some additional options on how to add specific questions in. So as instructors, a lot of times instructors, they'd like to really hand pick each individual question. You can also do that here as well. So if I really wanted to look at questions from lesson 2.2 over here on the left-hand side, I'm going to click into that lesson name. And we're going to see the question bank for lesson 2.2 here. So if I wanted to add in this specific question right here, the first one, I'm going to click on add. And we're going to notice that we're up to 8 questions. And we can see that this question is in use 1 time over here. A couple other features I like to point out on the right-hand side of the page, or on the assignment side of the page, the right-hand panel. If you want to, you can use this actions button and you can collapse all of these questions. So I'm going to go back into the right panel full screen real quick. But we can see that this is just a quick way to get a quick overview of your assignment as well, where you can see the different objectives here. And if you want to look at a specific question, you can simply click on it and it's going to open it up again. You also notice on the right-hand side of the page, there's a handful of these questions that have MCQ marked next to it. That means that these questions are able to be a multiple choice question if you'd like them to be. So if I clicked on the MCQ option here, I now made this a multiple choice question. And if I show my answer, we can see that there's a couple of different iterations here. And we can see that the correct answer is -12. So this is a great tool right here. And if you clicked on the uncheck the multiple choice, you can see now it's back to the fill in the blank option. So a lot of different options here, and you can really customize these certain assignments. Some other things within the assignment builder tool is if you wanted each and every student to have the same value, you could lock the value right here. So now each one of my students would have -101 plus 68 plus 21 for each question, or for this first question right here. Also, you can lock the order of the assignment. So if you move these questions into a specific order, how you like them, how you want your students to see these questions, if you're at the top of the page and click on lock order, and now all my students would have this as question 1, this is question 2, this is question 3, and kind of so on. So if you don't lock the order, then your students are going to have the questions. They're all going to have 8 questions, for example, but they're going to be in a random order for each individual student. And if you don't lock the value, each student might see a new iteration of that question. So you can see that there's a new values option here again. And you can see the different iterations a student might receive for this question right here. Another couple things I like to point out at the top of the page is this view summary option. This is a great tool just to give you a quick overview of where the questions are coming from. So you can see that we pulled 3 questions from lesson 2.2, 2 questions from lesson 2.3, 2 from 2.4, and 1 from 2.1. We also can see the difficulty level of each question. So we can see that we have a decent blend of low, medium, and high difficulty level questions within this assignment right here. So this will give you a quick overview. And if you notice something, you can, like I said, you can add and remove questions to get that, to add in more questions from lesson 2.1, for example. lastly, if your assignment is all set up exactly how you want it to be, you would want to click on the Save As button in the top right-hand corner of your screen. Once you do this, you can name this. So I'm just going to name this Demo Quiz 2. Once I make this saved, you'll see that my test has been saved successfully. So now if you're only able to work on maybe half this quiz or half this test, and you want to come back in later, you'll notice that this assignment is going to be on my web test page that we were on earlier. And you can jump back in here and add in additional questions and make edits if you need to. I know I mentioned at the beginning of the when we start talking about assignment builder is that you can export this to a Word document and print off paper and pencil assignments as well. To do that is you'd first want to save it like we did, and you'd want to click on this export to docs button. Once I click on this, you'll be asked to name it. The name that you saved as is going to pop up automatically for you. And you can see that you have some different options down below. I typically recommend for the instructors to export the questions and answer key. One thing, just don't forget to not give your students the answer key at the end of the Word document. And you can also see that if you wanted to export multiple iterations of this, so maybe you're giving a quiz A and a quiz B version of this, then you could up this to 2 versions, for example, here. I'm going to keep it at 1 for right now. And once I click OK, we're going to start exporting this into my Word document. Okay, so here's my Word document right here. We can see that we have our demo quiz 2. You can see that there's another reminder that there's an answer key here. The nice thing about this, once it's in the Word document, you can really edit this to give your students more space. If you needed to input or edit some of these numbers, you can do so as well. And like I said, you can just add and remove different spacing, put in your own notes if you need to as well. Once you save this to your computer, you could print it off and hand it out to students. We see a lot of instructors utilize the export as paper and pencil assignments, just giving your students practice problems if you're meeting in an in-class on-ground environment here. And like I mentioned before, don't forget to take off the answer key for your students. It'll be the last page of the Word document here. All right, that was the main things that I had to show for the lesson builder and the assignment builder tools. I'm going to stick around for a few minutes. So if anyone has any questions, please do not hesitate to type them into the Q&A portion on the Zoom, and I'll be happy to answer those. If not, I hope you guys all have a great holidays. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to your training and support representative. So I just had one question saying, thank you for attending. I appreciate you all attending. So